G'day guys, Josh Huggett here from Josh Huggett Media, and welcome to Tog Talk, a show where I used to interview photographers and we just used to talk about stuff, and then I stopped, and now we're back for season 2 due to popular demand on Instagram, where I'm just going to kind of talk and whinge about so much stuff. I don't think we really need to beat around the bush on today's episode. We all know why we're here. It's that styled shoots aren't real weddings. I was actually just listening to a podcast on the way here by the people called Runaway Vows. And they were just talking about it too. It literally just came out today. So yeah, look, it's been a bit of time, hasn't it? It's been a time. A lot's happened in the last couple of weeks ever since. I mean, I've always held the same views since the beginning, really, that style shoots aren't real weddings, and that's fine. But I've tried to write like a little bit of a list so that we have some sort of structure here, because otherwise I'll just sit here and waffle for the next however long. So I do have some structure to this episode, which is very, very exciting because it's not really something that I'm used to. Normally I come on a podcast. I'm more of I like being a guest on a podcast because that way it's up to somebody else to cull whatever I say, whereas this time it's all up to me. But we're going to talk about styled shoots. We're going to talk about workshops. We are going to talk about lying in the industry, and we're going to talk about how the internet did its thing again, and it's kind of just run with it. For those of you watching the video of this, you're noticing that I'm wearing headphones, and I'm going to take those off because it's literally just me talking to myself today. There's nobody here. It's just me. It's a solo episode. So yeah, we made a post online first at the Runaway Vows, and just a couple of people online being like, there's not enough syllables, blah, 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 blah. So the song goes, let's just clear one thing. But. That's 6. Styled is 1 beat. Styled shoots aren't real weddings. Styled shoots aren't real weddings. 6 beats. It fits. That's fucking annoyed me so much, but I'm too petty to actually comment it back. It fits. Styled shoots aren't real weddings. Fits. Apart from maybe the S, but that fits. And that's not a lie, like at all. And that's the annoying thing that's sort of come from this, is like everybody being like making essentially reaction videos or their own version of the videos, and then skewing the truth almost, where they will like put their own version in the comments or in their caption, and they'll change it to kind of fit their own narrative, but then they'll also agree completely in the comment as well. Like, you know, that was that one. Also, if you're watching this, don't watch it with your kids because I'm definitely going to swear. There was that one, it was like, oh, you wouldn't bash a musician for practicing. And it's like, it's so different. It is so different. A musician playing guitar in their fucking bedroom versus somebody posting photos from a styled shoot being like, this is a real wedding that I shot. They're two very fucking different things. And like, it's so stupid that I need to explain this out loud. Like, this isn't a conversation that we should ever need to have. This isn't something that I don't understand why it's such a big fucking deal. The people that are the most annoyed by this are always the people that sell styled shoots and sell workshops, because you've essentially come for their entire industry in like one post. But that's okay. I also saw some people commenting like, and we'll go through some comments a little bit later. Maybe we'll do that as well. I saw some people commenting being like, oh, he's only saying this so he can sell tickets to his workshop, which is a real wedding. Like, feel sorry for the videographer at that wedding. No, we are the videographer. We supply everything. And my opinion doesn't change. I'm pretty sure I made this video before Mania 2 came out anyway, but style shoots are still not real. But I thought we'd go through. I've made a little list, my little book. I've made a list of the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things about styled shoots, and we're going to run through them one after another. And then maybe we'll read some comments. I did put it out on Instagram as well and ask if there was any questions, so we'll read those questions as well. And we'll actually, by the end of this, we will have a complete knowledge of styled shoots and what you should do with styled shoots. Should you be going to styled shoots? Who styled shoots are good for? Who styled shoots are bad for? And the actual ramifications for your actions, which is something that I think more people need to learn. So we'll talk about the good things first, because there is a lot of good things about styled shoots. That, like, what everybody seems to sort of misunderstand is that, like, I'm not against styled shoots. Styled shoots are good things. Like, people learn a lot of good things at styled shoots. Styled shoots are a very, very good way to learn, like, basic camera settings. If you're new to photography, a great place to go would be a styled shoot, because there's, like, no pressure. You can actually practice with your camera, learn your camera, and learn how to take photos without the pressure of it like being a paid gig. You've paid to be there. Hopefully the person running the styled shoot actually has some educational knowledge and can actually teach you about your camera and your settings. A lot of people set up styled shoots as like designers and stuff, and then you just go and take the photos of what's actually there. So as a photographer, it's probably not a great place to learn, because unless you're able to talk with other people, you're not really going to learn from the people running the workshop. They're really just there to set it up for you. So long as you can go to a styled shoot where people are teaching and you're actually able to learn something from the educators, like Mike hosts styled shoots. So people in my circle know who Mike is. People outside of my circle, Mike Jeffrey, photographer from Australia. He runs styled shoots, but he's also a photography educator that is there to teach you how to use your camera. So as much as it is a styled shoot, I'm teaching at one of his styled shoots coming up. I've got fucking camp photography in a couple of weeks. I'm there teaching. Only thing I made sure was that he gave me a real couple, because I don't want to fucking work with models, and that I'll make sure that my people tell them that it was shot at a workshop. But so long as you're there with somebody that can actually teach you something, that if you've got a question about your camera, then it's actually a great place to learn basic camera settings, basic posing, basic composition. You can actually practice these things without the risk of it being a paid gig. That's a good thing. I don't think anybody ever would say that it's a bad thing to go out and practice your craft, especially if you can go somewhere and practice in a place that has something. Like when I was learning photography and I was trying to learn camera settings, because I'm completely self-taught, I went on a walk in the river, like not in the river, fucking along the river, to learn how to take better photos of just things around me. And I was trying to learn camera settings from that and watching YouTube videos. Probably could have gone to a styled shoot and learned there, but they didn't exist. Well, I couldn't find any back then anyway, but being able to learn those like basic camera settings and learn from people is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It's not a real thing. We'll get to that in a second. It's a great way to mingle with other photographers and actually build a community. If you have a fucking love for photography, if you are new to the industry, or if you're just learning how to take photos and you just want to, you just want to be a better photographer and you want to communicate and hang out with other photographers, styled shoot's a great place to go and meet some other photographers, because there are going to be other photographers there that have an interest in the thing that you have an interest in, which is taking photos, probably of weddings. Now, I'm a wedding photographer. For those of you that have somehow stumbled across this and you don't know who I am and you haven't just come from socials, I'm a wedding photographer from Adelaide, South Australia. I shoot, at the moment, I'm shooting like 70 weddings a year. At a peak, our company was doing 125. We've kind of scaled back a little bit. But I shoot 70 of those weddings a year. I'm still very much a working photographer. I work pretty much every single weekend shooting weddings. So that's kind of where I've come from. So a lot of what I talk about is going to be wedding photography related. I'm sure it can go into some other sort of like, industries, but mainly this is wedding photography stuff. So if you're going to a wedding photography workshop, chances are you're going to be speaking with people that are also interested in wedding photography, and they're probably at a very similar spot in their business than you are. So you're actually able to have a mutual connection, and you're actually able to talk about things that will affect both of you at the same time, because you're both at the same spot in your, like, not in your relationship, in your fucking business. That's a good thing. That's a good thing that comes from style shoots. You're at the same place as people with the same interests as you, and you can learn from those people. I'm a very strong believer in that every single person has something that they can educate on. Even if you are one step ahead of the person behind you, you can bring that person up with you. You can teach them that one thing that will bring them from that step to the next step. That's why this whole fucking this whole Tog Talk thing started originally, was that no matter where you are in your business, you've always got something that you can teach somebody else. So we were having educational conversations with like people from all different walks of life, all different levels in their business, so that maybe something that I teach, I'm a seasoned wedding photographer now, I do it a lot. Maybe what I'm saying isn't reaching you, or isn't, what's the fucking word, Josh? Isn't resonating with you because I'm in a different spot in my business. So it's very hard for me to try to make relatable content for people that are just starting. But maybe there's somebody out there that it's just a little bit further ahead. Like maybe they started 2 years ago and they're able to say something that will resonate with somebody that's only been started has only started like a year ago. Then they're going to be able to give you actual advice that you can implement and bring into your business to get you that little bit further. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So if you're at a style shoot with people and building a community around people that are all at a very similar level of business, maybe something that one person says is that final dot point that you needed to take your business to the next level so that then you can become the person that's educating the person behind you, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Also, photography in general is just fun with other people. It's a very, very lonely job, wedding photography. You spend your entire weekends with people, but they're all transactional relationships. You are speaking to somebody knowing full well that you'll probably never see those people again. You are at the most important day of somebody's life. You get to spend that fantastic day with them. You get to meet all of these amazing people. Everybody has such a great day. And then they'll continue on being friends, family, cousins, aunties, uncles. Their entire life will continue and they will speak about that day forever, where you then just kind of get left behind and you just turn up to the next one. All of your relationships that you build are essentially transactional. Now, in that, there are always some couples that you'll stay in contact with. All of the people that I play D&D with, they're all ex-wedding couples of mine. A lot of the people that I speak to on Instagram on a daily basis are couples of mine. However, they're transactional relationships 99% of the time. So it's a very lonely industry. You spend a lot of time by yourself, sitting in dark rooms, editing, not like an actual dark room, unless you do film, obviously, but dark rooms, editing by yourself, and then you go and have a transactional relationship. So if you're actually able to build a community and build a group of photographers around you that all enjoy the same sorts of things that you do, photography, maybe you have some music tastes that are the same, anything along those lines, that's a good thing. And that has come from a style shoot because you're able to be in the same place as somebody else that has the same interests as you, build a little bit of a friendship. That's good. People think I'm this big, evil, fucking anti-style shoot guy, but in reality, I quite enjoy style shoots. It's just the lying that comes in the bad and the ugly sections that are really off-putting. Style shoots are a great way to actually build a specific type of portfolio. If you want to be a wedding photographer, but you've never been to a wedding before, going to a styled shoot and getting wedding-based photos is a good thing for your portfolio. It's when you lie about those photos that it becomes an issue, but we talk about that later. But if you're trying to build a portfolio of images based around wedding photography and you have absolutely no way of getting wedding photos any other way, that is a great way to get some wedding photos. Now, pretty sure I've got this in my beginning course. Maybe it's in the foundations course. Maybe it's in the next one that I never finished editing. But there are other ways to get wedding photos. I'm sure you've got friends or family that have been married. Maybe some of them have been married recently. Ask them if you can take some photos of their shoes. Ask them if they've still got any of their details left. You can set up a styled shoot at home. You can learn things on YouTube and then practice at home. I still think practicing at home is the best thing that you can do. Heading to a styled shoot, everything's going to be set up for you. So you're not actually setting anything up. You're literally just turning up, taking photos of something that somebody else has styled and then going home. Whereas if you're able to get some details, maybe you're married yourself and you've got shoes and a tie and some rings and you can get some flowers from outside and you can set up a little flat lay in your front window. That would be more beneficial than going to a styled shoot and taking 600 photos of somebody else's design, because you've actually learnt how to do it yourself at home with your own gear rather than just turning up and taking photos of something that's already finished. Maybe you've got friends that got married recently and you can go to their house and they'll put on their wedding dress again and you can go and just take some couple photos of them with their dress on. You're able to get content that way. Maybe you can go to an op shop and pick up a cheap dress for less than the cost of a styled shoot and just get one of your friends to model it for you. It's still technically a styled shoot, but at least you're learning how to pose the people and you're learning how to get those sorts of images opposed to taking photos that somebody else has set up. Venues, vendors, fucking musicians. What else is there? Artists, there's celebrants, there's MCs, there's DJs. All of these vendors benefit from styled shoots. That's great marketing for all of these vendors because they can get some nice headshots. They can get some nice photos of them working in a very controlled environment. They're great for venues because venues can actually sell like, this is what our venue can look like. This is what our venue looks like when it's set up for a wedding. This is what our venue looks like when it's set up for a medieval wedding. This is what our venue looks like when it's set up for a gothic wedding. They can get all of this sort of content from a styled shoot without the need to actually book it, so they can actually showcase that. Setting up it's very different when your job is the deliverable that you're sort of trying not to say lying about, but like our job as photographers is to work in really hard conditions and get the best photos possible for people in those conditions. So what we're showing and what we're showcasing is our ability to work in those conditions, and these are the images that we can create under those conditions. That's where styled shoots sort of skew that line because, yes, you are taking photos of the product. However, it's very different to actually doing the real thing. It's like looking at a photo of a Big Mac from McDonald's when they make it perfectly and they set it up perfectly and then they take a really nice picture of it. But then you get a Big Mac in the box when they've actually had to make it under real conditions and it never looks the same, ever. Because it's not the same thing. That's essentially what happens when you take somebody that has only ever done styled shoots. They've only ever shot styled shoots. They only do styled shoots. And then you put them in a real wedding situation where there's actual pressure, timelines, DJs, weather, harsh sun, everything. You get the other Big Mac. You get the bad Big Mac. That's not even what I'm fucking talking about. I'm meant to be talking about venues. We get to that later, but we're talking venues and all of that do get very good content for their websites. So that's a good thing. I'm meant to be talking about the good things of style shoots and I've already gotten into negatives. The good thing is that other vendors can get great headshots of themselves. And that's good. That's good for marketing. That's what marketing is. It's showing you at your absolute best. It's very different when you are in charge of like literally taking the photos under heavy conditions. Let's go into the bad because that's fucking way easier for me to talk about. It's really not hard to talk about nice things about style shoots. However, community, basic camera settings, building a specific portfolio, trying out new things, great place to actually try all of those things. That's why I'm doing one, just making sure people don't underthink that I'm just this fucking like ping, 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 just shooting down styled shoots every second that I get. Let's talk about the bad things about styled shoots. It's not real. It's not a real thing. It's not a real wedding. So when people then go and market these as real weddings, that's bad for the entire industry. It sets the entire industry back when people are lying about these things, calling style shoots real weddings when they're not real weddings, marketing them as real weddings when they're not real weddings, going to a style shoot. Even if it's a couple, like even if the people that you're taking photos of are a real couple, it's still not a real wedding day. So captions like, I was so privileged to shoot fucking Max and Samantha's, elopement on the weekend in the hills. Like if it's an elopement styled shoot, still not an elopement. Still not a real elopement. It's just them pretending to elope in the hills. That's bad for the industry because it sets unrealistic expectations for absolutely everybody looking at that content. Venues don't often always look that perfect, especially because a lot of extra time, details, and money goes into making them look as good as physically possible. So the people that you're marketing to are then given an unrealistic expectation of what the venue can look like. If you're marketing to like a normal person, like a normal couple, just somebody that wants to get married because they love their partner, showing them a styled shoot that's got like the equivalent of like $30,000 worth of flowers and styling when they've only got like a $20,000 budget, let's say like a normal wedding, that's unrealistic. They're not going to be able to achieve that. So then they're only ever going to be let down by the fact that they can't live up to that. Not only that, if you have no like time pressure, like time crunches, everything is perfect the entire time, that's also setting an unreal expectation for couples and everybody looking because they're seeing it as like, oh, wow, look at what they can do on a wedding day. That's fucking unreal. That's remarkable. Whereas maybe they've only got fucking 20 minutes in their timeline to take photos, but this couple spent 20 minutes in one pose at a style shoot. And then somebody else comes in and poses them and puts them in something else. That doesn't work. It's not a real thing. This is the bad thing, is that it's not a real fucking wedding, and people are marketing them as real weddings. They're filling their entire calendar, like their entire Instagram feed with like all of these style shoots, and then claiming that they're real and claiming that they're booked out to create some exclusivity. And then it's just not, it's not real. It's like, I don't understand why I still don't really know why I have to have this conversation. It's blowing my fucking mind, but here we are nonetheless, still having this conversation. It's unrealistic in all senses of the word that I have here. Time. Most often, you don't have that much time to take the photos. You're probably not going to have 45 minutes to an hour just to take photos of the details. The styling is unrealistic because a lot of the time that's not how the venues are styled. This is showing this, the styling at their absolute peak rather than a more realistic expectation. Another thing that not a lot of people commented on, which I found surprising, is how often you have to fight for the photos with the other photographers that are there. So normally, if you go to a style shoot, there's at least 15 people there. 15, 20, 25, 30 photographers there, all fighting to take the same photos. Like, they're all trying to get the same photos because there's this like one detail set up. You're going to go and take those photos. There's one couple doing one pose. You're going to go and take photos of them. I've attended a few style shoots now, like as educator and all this sort of stuff. And it's often the same thing. Like even our engagement shoots that we host. So everything that we do, for those of you that don't know, the stuff that we do over here on our education is real. We use real couples. We do real engagement shoots where they just come in to have their engagement photos taken. We're not setting it up for anything. We don't bring in any extra flowers. We don't bring in any extra styling. It's like a real engagement shoot that we take couples to like real places that we would shoot an actual engagement shoot. And then I run an engagement shoot with the couple, and then people are more than welcome to chime in and take photos as well. There's still 20 people trying to take the same photo of the same couple. So a lot of the time, people will just stand in front of you, or you'll be taking a photo and somebody will bump you maybe, or you're shooting on an 85 1.4 that you just bought and you're really excited to try it out. But you can't get that photo because there are people there shooting on a 24-70 and they're sitting at 24 mils at 2.8 and they're up nice and close. Or you're trying to get a wide photo. Maybe you're shooting on like a 16, 15 like me. And you can't get that photo because there's 20 photographers all around the way. You'll be trying to get like a wide horizontal photo for the portfolio, or maybe you're looking for like a header image. And then the photographer just like ducks around to the side and they're trying to get a photo from a different angle. There's a lot of infighting at these style shoots. Yes, it's all community. Yes, well, it's community over competition. Yes, yes, yes. But when it actually comes down to it and there's a couple there and you've got 20 minutes to take their photos, people fucking like, they're going to get their photos over just waiting for somebody else. Or you're the nice guy and you take a step back and you let them get their photos, but then you get nothing and you end up just having a bad experience anyway, and you didn't learn anything from the educator, or you didn't learn how to take photos, you didn't get any portfolio building images, all because there were too many other people there. This is where things like second shooting or being an associate or shadowing photographers all come in, because you're really only 2-3 people there. And that way they're getting their main wedding photos and you're the second shooter. You're still able to get some photos for your own portfolio. However, you're not getting in the way of like 20 other people in the same fucking fight for the same photos. Lots of, with these style shoots as well, a lot of the people are all from the same area. Like if you go to a style shoot in Melbourne and it's like $500 and you go there and you take some photos, chances are they're all going to be from Melbourne. So not only are you fighting with 20 other people, not only are you fighting 20 other people for these photos, you're all in the same spot, you're all trying to take the same photos and you're all having a big fucking tiffy about it, but they also live within like 20 Ks of your house. So all of a sudden, Instagram is going to be inundated with a whole bunch of photos of the same couples in the same poses from the same location in the same fucking hashtag Melbourne wedding or whatever, Sydney wedding, Adelaide wedding. they're all going to have the same photos. So then really you put in a rat race where if you're still learning, and most people attending style shoots are still learning, some experienced photographers will go to them, but a lot of the people are still learning. If you're still learning photography, chances are you probably don't have the best gear. You're not able to step down to like a nice low aperture, or you're still learning composition and stuff. Your photos then are literally going to be compared image for image with other photographers that may be more qualified than you that were at the same event. This one is coming off the top of my dome. This isn't in my fucking list, but you literally be image for image compared with the other people that went there. So if you don't have the best gear, if you like not even the best gear, if you're still shooting on like a kit lens, then your photos will be compared with the people that maybe you already bought a prime. Maybe they've already bought a 24-70 like everybody else does. That's a whole episode in itself, is a 24-70. That's bad. Whereas if you're able to get a varying portfolio, a lot of people will they'll go to a style shoot, they'll get 700 images, and then they just post all 700 images, and they're not that great, but like they're good enough, and they're still making portfolio. Whereas a variety of images is going to be far more beneficial than just one style shoot. Now, this isn't just about this. This is kind of getting a little bit off topic, and that we're just talking about Instagram instead of just style shoots. But a lot of the people in the same area having the same photos of you or as you is a negative, because then you are literally competing with the people in your area, even though it's community over competition or whatever they fucking tell you. It's all in the same area. It's all going to be in the same hashtag, and everybody's going to be fucking rushing to get those photos out. So it's literally first in, best dressed. And then the whole feed gets inundated with the same photos from the same photographers from the same area. And it's just fucking wild. And then in there, somebody will lie about it and say that it's a real thing. Right. This is the bit that everybody's kind of waiting for. Wow, we're already like 30 minutes in. Jesus, I really did have a little bit of a waffle there. Let's talk about the ugly side of styled shoots. We've talked about the good-ish. We've talked about the bad, the ugly, ugly bits of styled shoots that, people really seem to be trying to cover up almost. Somebody sent me a message and they said that styled shoots are the Scientology of photography, and it has not left my head. It was just so true. Like, you shoot down one and then has anybody seen that Louis Theroux documentary on Scientology where he just turns up to the gate and they just start coming to kick him out, and then they follow him around and they're hunting him down? I feel like that's what's happening to me, where now everywhere I go, people are just talking about style shoots in my area, and people are looking at me, and I'm just getting sent more and more videos of people talking about it. Feels like the same thing. But the ugly thing about style shoots, people using them to lie to couples about weddings. Now, we spoke about this a little bit before, but lying about the fact that they're shooting these weddings when in reality they're not that experienced. So if you're lying about it and claiming to be booked out, or such a busy month, and they're posting photos from all the style shoots they did, but claiming them as real weddings, actually puts real weddings at a very real risk. Yes, it's all well and good to, let's forget the photographer side of this. Let's forget people lying about being a photographer. People, lying in the industry to make themselves feel better or whatever. At the bare bones, the bare, probably shouldn't say bare bottom, but at the absolute base of this, there are still people that are getting married. And if you're going to styled shoots, and if you're lying about these and trying to book weddings with it, yeah, I did this, and yeah, I did this, yeah, we did all of this, and you're lying just try to get some couples and try to get some weddings under your belt. I understand everybody's trying to get ahead. I understand that people are trying to get a job. I understand that people are trying to grow their business. More than happy to help people grow their business. I understand that. I understand. Let's get rid of the photographer side of things. At the bare basic, if you are lying about being a photographer, no, you're not. If you are lying about being a booked out wedding photographer and then claiming wedding bookings, you are putting real weddings at risk because of your inexperience. You are fundamentally risking somebody's wedding day because you were more focused on booking a wedding than you were about actually thinking about the ramifications of your actions. If you, people get one wedding day, they get one wedding most of the time. And if you're going to risk those photos for fucking $1,500 or whatever you're charging, based on purely styled shoot images. A lot of people will just shoot some styled shoots and then go and shoot a real wedding day and just presume that it's okay with no real wedding experience. It's fucking wild. And like, it's even more wild because I did that. I'm that guy. I know this. Like, I'm not saying I'm better than everybody else. I'm not saying this is like, oh, fuck all. Like, I look back on how I started and it terrifies me. Like, I literally went straight into the deep end shooting weddings. Like, shot a wedding for free. Great. Loved it. Very relaxed wedding. And then I just started shooting weddings and now I haven't stopped. That terrifies me now that I'm further in the industry. And some of the things that I did in the day, like shooting on cameras with one card, or just like shooting 99% of the wedding on one camera body with one card in it. And like, it's just, at the end of the day, we need to remember that there are real people behind these weddings. Weddings are great. They, you know, it's probably the best paid industry in the world, especially for photographers if you can do it well. But at the end of the day, there are real people on the other sides of this, that it's like their actual wedding day that people are now gambling with based on photos that they took at a styled shoot. And that really irks me. I really don't like the fact that people's wedding days are being like literally risked. And then all you see is that, like, in the Facebook groups, like I'm sure you're all in the Facebook groups as well. I'm sure we're all in the same fucking wedding photography Facebook groups. People like complaining because their photographer ghosted them after the photos because, like, evidently they weren't as good as they sold themselves to be, or they get their photos back and they're just fucking trash because they just didn't know, they didn't have any experience. It was a really sunny day and they didn't know how to shoot with that, or it wasn't set up for them. And like, or they had to use a flash and they bought a flash the fucking week of the wedding and they're trying to figure out how to use it and all the photos are fucked, or didn't have any time to take photos because there was like, the timeline was out and the photographer couldn't manage it, or they missed family photos, or they didn't know they even needed to do family photos. Like, another thing that people don't even think about is like, there is so much more that goes into a wedding day than just taking the photos. Like, taking the photos on the wedding day is maybe 15% of the entire wedding. The other 85% of the wedding day is more time management, planning, timeline work. People are like, there's some people here in Adelaide. I was only speaking to a celebrant the other day about this, and about how, like, the week of the wedding or whatever, they're emailing the celebrant being like, yeah, do you have, like, what time's the ceremony start? And like they don't know. There's so much more. And this is where becoming a second shooter, or working as a shadow, or literally anything, volunteering your time, even just fucking carrying someone's bags. I know that's big in America. It doesn't happen that much here, but like, you can just be a fucking light boy and just walk around and carry a fucking light for somebody, is so much more beneficial. Even fucking paying a photographer to go and shoot a wedding with them. That, nobody talks about that. That's a fucking good idea. Finding a photographer in your area that you like, and people always message me and they're like, how do you start? What would you do to start? How would you start being a photographer tomorrow? So many of those initial hurdles, like people originally, here we go. So if you want to be a photographer and you want to start tomorrow, first thing I would be doing, getting your camera, whatever. That's all. That's fine. Get your camera. Pick your brand, pick whatever you want to do. Then I would be reaching out to people in your area to take photos. We have a whole course on this. I'll do this very, very quickly. Talk to people in your area. And then when you're ready to start second shooting, send them a message on Instagram. And so many people get like ghosted from photographers or like whatever, because it's a real gatekeeping community. If there's like a styled shoot and stuff in your area that's like $1,000, you could offer $250 to photographers in your area. But like, hey, I'd love to come and shoot a wedding. Because like a lot of it is what's actually in it for the photographer if you come and ask somebody to shoot a wedding. Like if you, I'll use me as an example. If you message me and say, hey, Josh, I want to come and shoot a wedding with you because I want to learn from you how to take better wedding photos. Physically, what's in that for me at all? All I'm having to do, apart from the fact that like, you know, it makes you sleep better because you help people. What benefit is there to me, the photographer, for bringing you, the new person, on? Originally, I used to bring people on, and because it made me, I was able to tell the couples like, oh, I've actually got some students coming along. Or when I was booking weddings, I'd tell people like, oh, and we may have a student come on, but I'll let you know, because that gave me authority in the industry. Immediately, This is way before Instagram and everything, but what's actually in it for the photographer if you ask them? Essentially, all you're doing is asking if you can come and learn from them, so it's going to take them longer to take the photos, so that you can get portfolio images to build your portfolio, so that then you can become direct competition to the other photographer. There's nothing in it for the photographer that you're messaging. You have literally everything to gain. Maybe you can send them some photos, but let's be real, they probably won't be that great if you're just starting in the industry. A way around that, let's say $1,000 for a styled shoot, send, hey, I'd fucking love to come and learn. I love your work. I love how you take photos. I know I don't have heaps to offer because I'm still learning. I'd love to pay to be there. That way, the photographer has financial gain for helping you. You get portfolio, you get to learn how to take wedding photos, you get to learn all about a wedding day. Everybody wins in that situation, opposed to just the photographer having to give all of the information away. And if they say no, then they're labeled as a gatekeeper. For the record, you don't need to pay me to come and shoot a wedding with me. That's fine. We have very few spots available each year to come and learn from me, and they're not paid. You can just come and learn. I don't need your money. I'm getting paid to shoot the wedding. But for other photographers in the area, that may be a great way to get across. And you could do 4 weddings for the cost of one styled shoot. So you would get so much more photos and experience and fucking everything by doing those 4 weddings than you would from one styled shoot. That's a great fucking idea, Josh. That's great. I need to write that down somewhere. Anyway, back to what we were actually talking about, the ugly things about styled shoots. Risking people's real weddings and people arriving at wedding days unprepared for timelines and stuff like that. Again, we did kind of just talk about it, but actually having to work your own timeline or figure out what to do if a timeline's running behind. If your timeline's out, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? How are you actually going to fix that? A lot of that can be done by second shooting and shadowing and all of this other sort of stuff. You can learn it all from actual photographers in that way. And then the last thing that I had on this ugly list is magazines giving brides unrealistic expectations of their day. Magazines posting size 6. Size 6? That's small, isn't it? Size fucking 3, size 2 brides that aren't actually brides. They're professional models in dresses at a styled shoot with professional hair and makeup paid for, where they just literally have to pose and their entire job is posing. Gives a very, very unreal expectation of what the actual wedding day will be like, because you're not that model. You're not that person. Even grooms, you see someone in a really sick suit and they're all fucking prim and proper and ripped and whatever, and they've got perfect hair because they've got a hairstylist standing next to them all day. Sets a very, very unrealistic expectation of what a normal person would look like in the exact same situation. Also, somebody with years of posing for magazines is going to photograph far better than a real person would photograph. But then they put them in these wedding magazines, especially wedding photographers. Look at this wedding photographer, look at what they can do. But all of those photos are from styled shoots. So it's not actually what they can do on a wedding day. It's what they can do under very specific circumstances in a very controlled environment with the best possible settings and the best possible lighting. That's not a realistic expectation of what they can do. That's a very unrealistic expectation of what that photographer can do. Same with brides, all that sort of stuff. It's all fucking fake and bullshit. Let's read a couple of Instagram comments and then I'm going to let you go back to your lives. 43 minutes. This is a lot longer than I thought I would be talking about styled shoots, but I'm going to run into it now. I did take a little screeny here of the comments from yesterday. And we'll read some of the questions. I've never shot a wedding and I have a styled shoot coming up. All I can think about is you. Well, Jesse, I hope you do think about me at that styled shoot. But that's fine. And like we said right at the start of this, a styled shoot isn't bad. There's nothing wrong with attending a styled shoot. There's nothing wrong with learning at a styled shoot and practicing different things. And it's a great time to practice things that you may not want to be able to do on an actual wedding day. So if you're going somewhere to a style shoot, and this is why I love Mike's camp photography as well, which we're going to in July. I would sell you tickets to it, but it's already sold out. So actually there's a couple of tickets for the day pass as well if you want to do that. We'll talk about Wedding Mania in a little bit as well, but it's a great way to practice things that you may not want to practice on a wedding day. So like, let's say it's raining and it's really gloomy outside and you want to learn how to take that photo under the umbrella with the rain. That's a great time to practice where there's no ramifications for your actions because you're actually just practicing on people. That's great. So you go to a styled shoot, practice these things, learn these things, nothing. Jesse, enjoy your styled shoot. Just remember that it's not actually a real wedding. Fucking Tash from Queensland. What's she written? dawnphotography.com.au. You can actually meet her in real life at my workshop down here in December in Adelaide. But she said, style shoots are fantastic for meeting awesome people and connection. I love that about them. And that is one of the things that we talked about at the top as well. They're great for meeting people. It's a great little fucking mix. Not a mixer. That sounds romantic. It's a great little... what did I fucking call it? Community building experience where you can meet community, you can make a community, and you can actually make like a little group of friends. That's great. And you can do it in an unstressful environment. And also like this is hard for people to believe because I have such an out there personality online, and on wedding days, I'm on all of the time. But outside of that, I'm actually quite a reserved person. I don't like social situations. I don't like having to go and meet people and talk to people. Like for argument's sake, when my wife picks up my kids from school, she's friends with like all of the mums and people there. Like they chat and they talk and do whatever. Every time I go to pick up my daughter from school, this won't work for the people that aren't watching the video, but like I have my hoodie on over my head. I have my head down. I don't talk to a single person because I can't do small talk. I don't want to do small talk. Can't do it. So going to something like this, going to something like a styled shoot where you've got something to do, if you get uncomfortable at any time or if you are feeling nervous, you've got something to actually do rather than going to like, the vendor parties that people have. Another one of those coming up in Adelaide in July this year, 1st of July. So this episode will be out. You've got a couple of weeks left. But rather than going to something like that, which is like a mixer and you got to talk to people and there's no real activities to do and you kind of there, at least with a styled shoot, you would have the opportunity to like just take photos. If you were too uncomfortable to talk to people, but you still wanted to be in the environment, you could just go and take photos and then use that as a way to kind of warm up or at least a talking point at the start. Leopard Prince Photography said, are they the same as real weddings? And they are. They're exactly the same as real weddings. Styled shoots are real weddings and they should be marketed as such because they're real and you have lots of stress and lots of everything. Styled shoots are real weddings. I'm just waiting for somebody to clip that and send it to me or tag me. At what age did I start photography? I started photography really in year 12. Maybe I'll do an episode on this as well and like my upbringing and how we kind of got to here. But like I started in year 12 because it was like an easy pass in high school. I thought, learnt on film. Didn't really do anything until about 2017 when I started taking weddings more seriously. Before that, though, I was creating content. A lot of it's here on YouTube as well, of like abandoned buildings and taking photos of that sort of stuff. But there's a whole episode in that somewhere. Style shoots have always made me feel dirty. How do you be fully transparent with them? I think a lot of that's got to do with the caption. So the photos themselves, I didn't really talk about it before, but a lot of the photos from style shoots don't actually match your environment. Like I went to Canada and did a style shoot with Tyler Jackson. Oh, fucking hell, man. It's been a day. Went to Canada, did a style shoot with Taylor Jackson, Sam Hurd, and some other great people. Lindsay was there. A lot of great people. In Banff, big blue water, mountains, everything. The photos are just stupidly pretty, but they don't match anything in my portfolio, so it doesn't really work. So I don't actually think I have any of the photos online, really. Maybe one or two on my website hidden somewhere in a footer. But it's all in the caption. It's all going to be on like, hey, I had the great pleasure. Now, how could you word it nicely without lying? I had the pleasure of meeting Sam and Gemma at the camp photography workshop. We had a great time taking photos together. Something like that. So long as you're putting workshop in the title, like in the actual like caption so that people can read it, I feel like that's okay. I just wouldn't make it my entire portfolio. If you look at your Instagram grid and 80% of it is style shoots, then maybe reconsider calling yourself a wedding photographer, maybe call yourself a style shoot photographer, or like a studio photographer maybe. Do you think, this was a good one. Now I did screen this one. This is from Olivia Wenzel Photography. Do you think hosts of styled shoots should be transparent on what wedding budget the styled shoot reflects? Example, this would be a $150K wedding, so photographers can decide which one would help them get to the next level. Great question. Not only for photographers, but also for couples. I feel like that this is where this whole transparency thing comes down, isn't it? Where people need to be more transparent about how much things actually cost so that there's none of this unrealistic expectations, especially for photographers. So yes, photographers, but especially for couples, sorry. Yes, for photographers, so if they're going to take photos at a styled shoot and the styled shoot would be like a $150,000 wedding, then they know they're taking photos of a $150,000 wedding couple sort of stuff. That's great. I don't think it's as much about the photographers. I think it's more about because you could be a $3,000 wedding photographer and take wedding photos good enough that somebody that's spending $150,000 would want. If you are put in an environment, and this is why we get sent fucking everywhere. I've been to some really, really lavish venues, but a lot of the time, a lot of the weddings that I shoot are just fucking Aussies, and I love it. And I want to be, and this is where you got to find your ideal client as well. So I have my ideal client where I can come and hang out and just do whatever I want to do, and we just fucking have big old Aussie weddings. But you should be able to put yourself in a situation where you can take wedding photos that would attract somebody at $150,000 a wedding wherever you are. So if you're taking really nice photos of everything, then it should appeal to everybody. It should be less about the venue and more about, the venue or the styling, and more about your photographic experience and your ability to take the photos. Now, where I think the transparency should come in is venues and stylists being look at how good this styling is. It's probably going to set you back fucking 40 grand. That's where the transparency needs to come in, so that when somebody's looking through a bridal magazine and they see this venue and it looks absolutely ridiculously good, I feel like there should be an asterisk being this would cost you 70 grand in styling. This would cost you 50 grand in styling. So that people aren't getting unrealistic expectations and then going and booking a venue or booking a stylist and realizing that it's out of the question. That was a great one. Sophie, by Sophie Photography. Nothing this topic just cracks me up. Love hearing you feed it to them all. Thank you, Sophie. Never done one before. Do you think it's worth trying, even if I have a successful business? From Kev Man Tam. I probably. I mean, if you've already got a successful business, then I would only really be doing a styled shoot if there was something you wanted to learn. And that's what all of this boils down to, is just people wanting to learn wedding photography or wanting to learn a different aspect of wedding photography. So if there is something that you want to learn or something that you want to practice, then a style shoot is a good way to do that. I would argue, though, workshops are better. I haven't spoken about workshops at all, but I feel like workshops would be far better than a styled shoot. A styled shoot is exactly that. It is a shoot that has been styled for you that you just go and take photos of. A workshop is where you actually have classes and learn. You can learn from people, and I feel like people should always be learning. They should always be learning from other people. We talked about that earlier, but you should always be learning something from somebody at some point. I'm still trying to learn now. Every wedding, I'm trying to learn something a little bit new or try something I haven't done before. And that's the only way you're ever going to get better. So I feel like attending a workshop would be better than attending a styled shoot, because there's actual physical classes where you learn things. And there's normally a styled shoot attached to that. That's where I feel like somebody with an established business would learn more, because you could actually maybe learn something that you haven't thought of. Maybe you go to a workshop and somebody teaches you something that is completely outside of the realms of anything you would have ever tried, but you were able to try it at this workshop and then get hands-on advice on how to actually do it. Chris Denner Photography said, no question, just rip them a new one. They're not real weddings. I think that's it. I think that's enough about styled shoots. I'm fucking done. This is me putting the nail in the coffin. I'm done talking about styled shoots. I'm done with this whole fucking whatever internet drama bullshit this is. I'm finished. I'm finished with it all. I will very quickly talk about Wedding Mania, which is the workshop that we have in December this year in Adelaide. So I've had a lot of questions about what's the difference between Wedding Mania and camp photography, or what is Wedding Mania. Wedding Mania is a 3-day wedding photography workshop that we have in Adelaide, South Australia, where the ticket sale, so the ticket that you buy, actually goes to paying for couples in need to get married. We put a post out on our Instagram. Anybody that wants to get married, they can comment on that, and we will pay for the wedding. So what you're actually taking photos of is a real wedding rather than a styled shoot. So instead of like going and everything's being perfect, you are working a real 10-hour wedding day, essentially having your hand held through the experience. It is a way for you to learn the ins and outs of wedding photography whilst also being guided along the way. And then on top of that, we also do a whole bunch of other classes. So it goes for 3 days. One of those days you shoot a wedding with me. It's a 10-hour day and we will shoot it side by side. And then the other 2 days is all classes from some of the biggest educators and influencers in Australia. We've got Beck, the wedding painter, who is a professional marketing expert. She's coming on. She's also got over 1 million followers online, something stupid. But she's got an actual marketing background, so she's going to help you make some viral content and build an actual brand. We do have Tash from Dawn Photography. She's coming down as well to teach you how to keep your passion for photography alive, even after you've made it a job, because a lot of the time when you become a wedding photographer or you become a full-time photographer, you actually lose that passion for photography that made you pick up a camera in the first place. She's also going to teach them like how to get behind the scenes content and how to make reels and all that sort of stuff, and everything is content. And then Mike Jeffrey is also coming down. So for the new people that have never shot a wedding before, or maybe you've only done one or two, Mike is actually going to teach you the ins and outs of a wedding day so that you don't lose anything, you don't miss anything. He's going to teach you how to shoot an actual wedding. And then on the second day, so for the more advanced people, because we are splitting the group into two, advanced and beginners, the advanced class is going to teach some advanced flash techniques as well, so you can learn how to use flash better. Then we're also going to do a whole bunch of editing talk. We're going to talk about post-production. We're going to talk about workflows. We're going to talk about systems. We're going to talk about automations. So much stuff. You learn so much at these workshops. They are 3 full days. It is not like a 45-minute shoot. This is 3 full, like 10-hour days where you will just learn and you will fill an entire notebook with knowledge. And on top of that, we also have engagement shoots on all the nights as well. So not only will you get all of the wedding images from that, you will also get a whole bunch of engagement shoot portfolio photos as well. And then right at the end, on the Wednesday, we have a big old fucking party and everybody comes together and we have drinks and mingle and we film podcast episodes and we just have a fucking great time. Anyway, this is fucking heaps longer than I thought it was going to be. If there is anything you would like to hear me talk about, I do have a list of things that I'm going to talk about, but if there's anything you'd like to hear me cover, put it in a comment somewhere or send me a DM on Instagram or join our subscription on Instagram, which is just launching fucking today or tomorrow. But until I see you again, until the next time that you hear my voice in your ear holes, just let it be known that I fucking love you, and styled shoots are not real weddings. Love you.